Hey guys, today we are going over and starting a new topic for reading. It is about nonfiction informational text. Okay, so we have kind of talked about nonfiction books, and they are true stories, and informational text mean it's going to teach us something and it's going to give us a bunch of facts. So first, before we start reading, we're going to go over the different text features of an informational text, and we're going to use our anchor chart here. All right, so here's our anchor chart. We have our nonfiction text features. So we're going to zoom in here. We have our table of contents, which is a list of the parts of a book and the pages where they're located. A heading is the title of a page or article. Bold print is words or phrases written in darker print or in color to emphasize importance. An index is usually at the back of the book. It's an alphabetical list of important topics and the page numbers where they are located. A diagram we're very used to seeing. It's a picture with labels. Subheading is words under a heading that tell about the topic of one part of a text. A caption is a short explanation under a picture that gives information about the picture. And the last one is our glossary, which is an alphabetical list of important words and their meanings found at the back of a text. All right, so here is our first story, what we're going to read today. So let's get started. Manatees. This is written by Laura Marsh. Manatees. And there's our first text feature. We have our table of contents. It has each topic and what page they're found on. All right, our first one, here's our heading, Who Am I? And it says, I have whiskers, but I'm not a cat. I nibble on grass, but I'm not a cow. I have gray wrinkled skin, but I'm not an elephant. Who am I? A manatee. And there's our picture of our manatee. And there's our next heading, Mighty Manatees. Manatees are mammals that live in the water. They are sometimes called sea cows. Why? Manatees are gentle and they move slowly like cows. They also graze on seagrass, just like cows eat grass. And if you look down here under our picture, there's our caption. It says, manatees often rest in groups. And here we have some little vocabulary words, or our water words as this book has them. Mammal, which is an animal that has a backbone and is warm-blooded. It feeds its babies milk. And our next word is graze, to feed in an area covered with grass. Manatees are big. They are usually about 10 feet long. That's as long as 2 kids' bikes lined up end to end. Manatees are heavy too. Most adult manatees weigh about 1,000 pounds. That's the weight of about 21 second graders. That's almost, if we put all of our friends in our classroom together, that's how much one manatee would weigh. Excuse me. Oh, here's our next heading. It says super swimmers. Manatees can move their large bodies gracefully through the water. They swim upside down and roll. They even do somersaults. And look at those funny pictures of them swimming and doing their flips. A somersault is like they do a flip or a roll. Manatees don't like water that is too deep. They like to stay in shallow water in oceans and rivers. There they find food and warm water. And right here we have our caption. It says a group of manatees swims in Crystal River, Florida, USA. Oh, here's a big picture. We have our big diagram here with our labels. So let's see what it says about it. A manatee's body is built for living in the water. All right, so here's our first label of the tail. It is large, flat, and round at the end. It moves up and down to power the manatee through the water. Our next label, flippers. They help steer the manatee. They also bring food to its mouth. Lips. They are big and strong. They wrap around plants and pull them into the manatee's mouth. Oh, can't really see that one. Oh, sorry guys. Nostrils. I was trying to see up more where it says nostrils. Manatees breathe air through these holes, but they close tightly and underwater. And their eyes. They are small, but manatees can see well, even in cloudy water. Why aren't you letting me see? I think it's supposed to say, let's see, there we go. I fixed it. Munching on lunch is our next heading. It says manatees are herbivores. An herbivore is someone who only eats plants. It says they eat plants for about 6 to 8 hours every day. And our caption here says a manatee grazes on sea plants. Manatees have no front teeth. They don't need them because they don't eat meat. Manatees have only large back teeth called molars. The molars help grind their food. And right here, our water word, just like I said, is an herbivore, is an animal that only eats plants. Can you imagine if you didn't have front teeth? How weird would that be? 7 fun facts about manatees. Number 1, they lose teeth all through their lives. New teeth replace them. The elephant is a distant relative of the manatee, so that means that they're related. Number 3, fat in the mother's milk help a young manatee grow quickly. They do not have eyelashes. Bones in a manatee's flipper are similar to those in a human hand. How cool. So here's a picture of a human hand, just like mine and yours, and a flipper of a manatee. And look how closely they look alike. Number 6, they do not use their mouth to breathe. They only use their nostrils. And number 7, they have no natural enemies. Humans are their biggest threat. Big babies is our next heading, and this caption here says, these young manatees are fed milk from a bottle. Without their mothers, they need help to eat. A manatee baby is called a calf. It is born underwater. A newborn calf is about the size of a 9-year-old kid. That means, like, if you have a big brother or big sister maybe, that's the size of a newborn baby manatee. The mother pushes the calf to the surface to take its first breath. Within an hour, the calf can swim on its own. Could you imagine being 1 hour old and being able to swim already? Like other mammal babies, a manatee drinks its mother's milk. Soon it learns how to find seagrass to eat. The calf must stay with its mother for the first 2 years. The mother teaches her calf how to live on its own. And our caption over here says, a calf needs to stick with its mom. Our next heading is called On the Move. And it says manatees do not stay in one place. They migrate. In summer, manatees can be found in many states. In winter, most manatees return to Florida. The water is warmer there. And our water word is migrate. Migrate means to move from one area to another for food or a mate. And here's a picture. See? In the orange here, that's where they are mostly when it's winter time or year round. They're gonna They're going to always be there. But when it's summer and it gets really hot, sometimes they'll go up this way, and sometimes they'll even go this way. And I don't know if they ever come to Texas area, but almost, pretty close there. Manatees at rest. Our caption says, manatees don't usually travel in groups, but they often rest together in warm waters. Manatees need rest like you, but they don't sleep like you do. They rest for about 15 minutes at a time. Then they need to come to the surface to breathe. They hold their breath for a whole 15 minutes. That's insane. Manatees sometimes rest at the bottom of the sea or river. They can also float near the top of the water when resting. Keeping manatees safe. There are many dangers for manatees. They are often hit by boats because they are big and slow and swim near the surface. Manatees can be hard to see in the water. Here's a picture of it. It says, this manatee has scars from an injury by a boat propeller. When Miss Stockdale and Miss Lily actually went to Disney World, we saw a manatee that his tail had got hurt by a boat. But he was still swimming and he was doing good. It was so cool to see him. People also throw trash and fishing line into the water. Swallowing trash can hurt manatees. Fishing line can get tangled around manatees so they can't swim. Manatees are endangered. There are about 5,000 Florida manatees left, but laws protect them. There are also special areas for manatees called sanctuaries. In a sanctuary, people can't disturb manatees. They can live safely there and raise their young. So here's a picture, and it says the roped off area shows where people are not allowed to go. And our water words are endangered, which means they're at risk of dying out. That it's possible that they might not have any manatees anymore. And a sanctuary is a safe place set aside for animals in nature. So here's just some questions you can ask your parents and see if they know. Where do manatees live? In a cool, refreshing water, in warm, shallow water, in deep, warm water, or on the beach? And they live in warm, shallow water. A baby manatee is called a calf. Manatees like to eat plants. A manatee's lips, let's see, grab and pull plants into its mouth. Manatees rest for about 15 minutes at a time. A manatee uses its flippers to steer through the water. And to keep manatees safe, people should not, it's all of them. You should not bother manatees. You shouldn't drive boats fast, and don't throw trash in the water. All right, so that's the end of our book. So you guys now have some assignments and some work on Seesaw you need to do about the different text features of books. Okay, guys? See you later.